Only Kaylee, actually.
So Kylie, one of the first investors.
Yes, yes, yeah.
So let's find out a little bit more. First of all, thank you for coming all the way to Japan.
Yeah, thank you too. This is my second time in Japan.
How are you liking it the second time?
It's very beautiful city, and I will visit Mount Fuji.
You want to see Mount Fuji?
Yeah, I never see.
Okay, we can do it together. So in case people don't know, can you just tell us a little bit about what Bukalapak is and kind of how you have built this company in Indonesia?
Yeah, Bukalapak is, I call it small business ecosystem. So we help small business to grow and empower them to scale. And right now we have around 4 million small business. What we mean by small business is online and offline. So we do have a two big chunk. The online one we have like 3 millions, and the offline one we have like 1 million small business.
And so this is like an e-commerce marketplace?
E-commerce is one of our business. We have a finance and also logistic. So it's kind of ecosystem of small business, both online and offline. So that's it.
Okay.
Bukalapak.
And just to give a sense for the audience about kind of the scale of the company, so for instance, for GMV, about how large is your GMV right now?
Right now, our GMV is 4 billion run rate.
And that's a USD, right?
Yeah, USD.
So in case you don't know, that was actually slightly larger than Mercari. I think the latest report of Mercari came out, it's around 3.5 billion USD. So Bukalapak, you're still private, but you've really scaled quite large in Indonesia. And because we have Kylie here, I do want to learn a little bit about, so Kylie is one of the first investors who backed you. How did you meet Kylie Ng?
Sorry, I was not remember. I think we met in conference, and then suddenly Kelly decided to invest. Then it's very quick.
Yeah.
We just have a call, and then he put the money, something like that.
Okay. We'll get his side of the story next time. And so there's so many different types of companies you could possibly have started. Why did you choose to start Bukalapak? Why did you choose to focus on small businesses?
I think back then I came from a rural area in Indonesia, in Central Java actually. I myself was a software engineer. I study in engineering school in Indonesia. My co-founder is also the same profile. We were a classmate in high school and in engineering school. So we have been like 10 years in the same school. And we have a same concern because we live in rural area. We feel like Indonesia has so many small business. So if you look at Indonesia, the business structure is we have a big corporation, like hundreds of big corporation, and we don't have middle. It's very little in the middle, and we have small and micro. The number is tens of millions of this micro. I call it micro because the size is so small.
Yeah.
That's why we come up with the idea with our skill, how can we build a software or a technology to empower them, to give them like weapon so they can grow at least to the middle level.
Right.
So they can pay tax. Because right now they don't pay tax, something like that.
So when you say micro business, is that something like less than 10 people, less than 5 people?
Even individual. Even
individual.
Mostly individual. They do business by their own. They don't have so many people. Yeah. If they have people, it means I call it entrepreneur, professional entrepreneur.
Right.
Mostly individual entrepreneur. Yeah.
So when you were growing up, you saw a lot of these sorts of businesses, and you thought they didn't have enough opportunity to expand.
Yep.
When you first launched the product, did you start by going to those sorts of folks? Like, how did you get those first users onboarded and becoming fans of the product?
Yeah, we start in 2010 with only 2 people. I with my friend. We live in the same dorm, and we built Bukalapak. And after we launched Bukalapak, I visit some small business and ask them to join Bukalapak. It's very hard process, but around if I visit like 20 small business, only one join at that time. At that time, but right now the conversion is higher and higher. Half of them want to join Bukalapak right now at the current stage. So I think it's a good progress because we have been 8 years. 8 years ago, it's very hard to ask me. Even I have to make them username and password and email. They don't have email, so I create for them an email so they can join Bukalapak, something like that.
Yeah, I guess the digital ability of digital literacy in Indonesia has really risen in the past 8 years compared to when you first started.
Sure.
And so you're starting out, you're getting these first people on board, and you're starting out, of course, as a scrappy venture. But now you're a mega venture. You're a unicorn billion-dollar company. In the scaling process, what part of the company was hardest to scale? Was it engineering? Was it sales? Was it marketing? What was the toughest thing to take from good to great?
I think the toughest job of a CEO or a founder is to find a very good talent. Talent, especially in Indonesia itself, we were not familiar with startup or tech sector. You cannot name it a very good startup in Indonesia at that time, 2010. We have no role model. It's very hard, especially we as the CEO have to represent ourselves as a very good talent. So we can attract better talent than me, something like that. It's very, very tough job. And that's why in lining with the performance and our skill as a founder is very, very important because the other people, the talented people will look at your numbers, your performance. Are they confident with your performance? And then the second, are you good enough? Are you inspire them to join the company? That's a really tough job because when you get a very good talent together with the performance of the numbers, this is kind of chicken and egg. If you inline both of that, your company will automatically growing. I think that's most of decision that I made that make the company growing. It's because I hire very good people. That's the toughest job. Even right now, I have so many challenges. The solution of that problem is very good talent.
Right. So for solving that, is that something that you as the CEO, you need to be like the chief hiring officer?
Yes.
And what are the weapons that you use? Is it the great marketing team, the company profiles? What's been the most effective way for you to make Bukalapak the place that people want to join?
Yeah, of course, the first one is to show the performance in the market because that's the real fact that the very good talent feel about the company. The second, I think, is the company culture. So we have a very good company culture, and we spread the culture, tell the story about how good our culture, and so it can attract them to join Bukalapak. And culture is very important because if the good talent coming to the company and they feel very good and satisfied with the company culture, they will feel confident in inviting a much better team. You know, at the first year of our company, I asked my team, hey, ask your friend to join Bukalapak. They said, no, I'm not confident. Because they have like kind of responsibility. Is this company going sustainable, something like that? But right now, they share, they ask their friend to join because they're feeling confident, something like that.
So you mentioned about kind of helping people make the decision to choose Bukalapak. There's other choices out there, of course. And I'm sure there's other places with great company culture. And it's not just hiring, it's also in terms of getting merchants. How do you keep growing despite increased competition? Because, like you said, 8 years ago, you had to help people get online. But now people have the phone in their hands, they're online in an instant, they're much more aware of the options, but they're still choosing you. how are you keeping an edge despite the increased competition?
Yeah, I used to have a nightmare actually every night because of competition.
Yeah.
I used to because so many investors that I met, they always talking about winners take all,
Yeah.
something that very scary. And suddenly I realized that my competition, my old competitor have like 1 billion money. I used to have like 1 million.
Right.
So it's 1 to 1,000, something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And right now we are bigger. When we show that we are bigger than them with the small amount of money, I'm start thinking that competition is very good because competition create the market.
Yeah.
Make the pie bigger. That's the role of the competition. And the second, as a player, you have to take advantage of the competition because if you play very good game and especially the quality of the product, the customer that come to them finally actually come to you. Finally, there will be time if you consistently doing a good job in creating a very good product and then satisfy your customer. At the end of the day, it's a loyalty game. It's not acquisition game. That's in my experience. We really focus on the product development, the culture, the talent, and it makes our company grow even with a small amount of money because they love the company, not just promotion or acquisition, something like that.
So speaking of expanding, I saw in the news today that you have a new initiative.
Yeah.
So in terms of kind of getting into areas of the country that aren't as online, you have a new deal with a network of kiosks to facilitate purchases on Bukalapak.
Yeah.
And this is potentially because not everyone has a personal phone, not everyone has a personal computer. Can you tell us a little bit more about this new partnership?
Yeah, to grow the company in the middle of very tough competition, the first one I mentioned is quality. The second one is playing differently. And this is how we play differently. We have a new business called O2O. It's actually a mom and pop store, mom and pop store network. Right now we have around 300,000. And it's kind of 7-Eleven in Japan, but we don't own the asset. We only provide them a software. So it's assetless convenience store. And we have like 300,000. It's huge network. And the potential number is 3 million in Indonesia. And this network can reach the 90% of people who don't connect to the e-commerce yet. As you already know, in Indonesia, only 10 million people using e-commerce ever buy in e-commerce. The 90 million, they connect to the internet, but they're not buying online. This is the solution that we provide to access to the 90 million people. That's the initiative.
So I feel like that sort of creativity is potentially unique to Indonesia. And so I want to talk a little bit about the advantages and maybe some of the challenges of building a startup in Indonesia. So from your perspective, what is something, because you've seen other markets, you've traveled to Japan, Singapore, et cetera. In Indonesia, what do you think is kind of uniquely challenging that maybe other markets don't have?
I think the unique challenge will be, this is the unique opportunity, and also maybe the unique challenge for other big company who enter Indonesia. I think the culture is different. Indonesia is unique. It's not like US, it's not like even China or Japan. It's completely different market. You have to be Indonesia. You have to live with Indonesian to understand Indonesia. And this is kind of opportunity for us because we live in Indonesia for 30 years. So we know Indonesia very, very well. That's the only opportunity that right now we have. That's why our team is also 100% Indonesia. Usually, some unicorn, usually they have like Indian talent or US, China, but
Right.
we, the only one unicorn in Indonesia who 100% Indonesia, because we believe in the strength of this culture, the understanding, local market understanding. And regarding the challenge, I think the challenge always be the first one, I think the purchasing power. Indonesia have very low purchasing power. Yeah, it's not like Japan. I come to Japan, everyone wear iPhone, right?
Yeah.
Everyone buy iPhone, but in Indonesia, iPhone is very small because we don't have. They buy iPhone, but second one or the cheap one.
Yeah.
Because our purchasing power is very low, but it's matter of time. The purchasing power will be higher and higher in the next decades. So that's the first one. The second is the infrastructure. Because of this purchasing power, the infrastructure, the company that built the internet infrastructure, they feel like, I have to focus only on the big city, something like that, in Jakarta, Bandung, or top 20 city.
Yeah.
They are not focusing on the 100 city,
Yeah.
the bottom.
Yeah.
So this is a problem because people in the bottom, it's so huge. I think 80% of Indonesian, they don't have bank account, they don't have they don't have a connection to the internet,
Yeah.
they don't have so many, they don't have access to any kind of technology. So this is the dilemma. If you're doing business in Indonesia, you tend to focusing on the big city because the economic of scale is happen there, but not happen in the bottom of the pyramid. So this is kind of challenge, and that's why we built like network of mom and pop store because they are focusing on the bottom, 80% of the bottom. Yeah.
So I like the point you raised about how, say, 80% don't have the bank account. A lot of people maybe don't have access to a computer. What about what moves is Indonesia as a country doing to improve that kind of infrastructure problem? Because for me, I've only been in Tech in Asia for, say, 4 years. But even in those 4 years, I've seen a lot of improvement in what's happening in Jakarta. But for, like, what do you say the roadmap is for Indonesia on the technical infrastructure side?
Yeah, the government right now in a very good situation where they are having a certain big budget to create the infrastructure in this bottom of the pyramid. And I hope it will be happening in the next 5 years because, right now the election, maybe after the election they will more aggressive.
Right.
If you look at Indonesia, they're focusing on infrastructure, not just toll road, but also internet infrastructure.
Yeah.
I believe it's happening right now. What I mean, actually, 8 years ago, the number is tiny, but right now it's increased a lot. But in the next 5 years, I believe the bottom of the pyramid will get access to the internet. And the internet price is getting cheaper and cheaper in Indonesia.
Right.
It's a matter of time, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Just for the audience, in case you haven't been, a sense of understanding like the cost of things. So here, I think a Netflix account is something like 1,200 yen. Anyone have Netflix here? You all share the same account? So it's around 1,200 yen, I think. But in the competitor to Netflix in Indonesia would be like iFlix.
Yeah.
And that,
Yes.
I think, is the equivalent of like 200, 300 yen. So like that's kind of like the difference in purchasing power that Zaky's talking about. So, sorry, where are my notes? So you've described a couple of the unique opportunities and kind of how things are going to continue to improve. And that's attracting more attention than ever into Indonesia.
Yes.
Definitely from Japan.
Yep.
So for, say, a Japanese company that's coming into Indonesia, what do you think is maybe a misconception that they have that you want to, kind of correct for them?
I think the misconception to Indonesia is, I think Indonesia is, they say that Indonesia is a very small country, not having potential. Maybe the unicorn only 4, but I believe there will be 10 more unicorn. there is a younger generation who very aggressive and very good founders. I think they will be unicorns soon in education, in crowdfunding, in fashion. So many startup in the next generation after me coming, and they are very, very good company. So yeah, the first one is the market is there. The second, the talent. Also, right now we have a very good talent because the talent who work for Bukalapak, including for Gojek or Traveloka, the current unicorn, they exit and then create a very good company right now. And maybe they also work and be executive of the next generation company. So I think Indonesia will be very interesting because we will have so many good tech company in the market.
And then what is a piece of advice you would give to, say, a Japanese company coming into the market? What is something that they should definitely do or definitely not do?
I think my suggestion will be live more in Indonesia, live with Indonesian. Because I saw so many successful foreign player because they very intense in Indonesia. Even they change their culture. They not to try to, hey, do this, something like that. They are very open. They are very open. What do you want? Something like that. Okay, do it. They learn. They learn because who understand Indonesia is actually Indonesian itself. Just asking, learn to them because they know better compared to just the one who not success in a foreign player who not success in Indonesia is actually they try to force their culture, their vision of the in their country to Indonesia. It's not gonna work. That's my suggestion.
Okay, thank you. And so you mentioned about the next generation coming. And I'm sure this next generation is looking at people like you for inspiration. And you've had a lot of success. But normally, the thing that kind of creates success is a very tough time. So what was one of your toughest times as a founder that you were able to bounce back from? What was something that you had to face that was like kind of the toughest in your experience as CEO of Bukalapak?
We were almost close the company in the first year because in 2000 we found in 2010 and then after 1 year in 2011 the startup scene is not there yet. There was no investment. There were no talent, very good talent. Nobody want to work for a startup at the time, 2011. We only 2 people. And also, we didn't have money. And our parents always asking, hey, Zaky, where do you work for the company? Where is the salary for me? Something like that. Our parents keep asking, and we feel like, I think we should work to other company and maybe kill this company. But one thing that I learned that I feel if we kill the company, then how about the small business? Because the reason why we built the company is how to empower and make this small business scale, something like that. They will be mad at us. They will no money for them, something like that. We kind of have a feeling. We have a very strong connection. It's like our baby, and suddenly we cancel the plan to develop the company. We keep running with Bukalapak with no salary. And 6 months later, the Japanese VC called Batavia Incubator give us a very huge money. And wow, this is a kind of aha moment. So the point of my story is really focus on the purpose is very, very important. Because you're running startup not for money. You're running startup for a cause, for something that very deep in your heart. It's like your baby, something like that. If you have that kind of purpose and mission, you will be sustained in the very hard time. So that's my experience.
So this 6-month period between should we close the company and finally getting that investment, What was something that you did to try and keep pushing forward? Did you like increase sales calls? Did you increase marketing?
We do business as usual because the first 1 year the company is growing really quick, but
Yeah.
no money.
Right.
And when we continue 6 months, next 6 months, it's keep growing. We don't change the pace. We don't change we just work for the company because we already work hard since day one.
Right.
And then after 1 year to the next 6 months, we also work hard to build the company. But the difference, I think, is the momentum. The momentum is there. In 2011, there were some investment in Indonesia. If you remember, Yahoo invest in a very small startup.
Yeah.
And also two big conglomerate acquired Kaskus. Kaskus is one of the biggest startup at that time. And also Detik is news portal. And it gives like a signal to the investor community. So the investor coming and looking to where is another good startup, and they put us in the radar, something like that. That's kind of a momentum in 2011. Yeah.
Okay, so we only have a few minutes left, and so I kind of want to bring it back full circle.
Yeah.
When you are raising, say, like a seed round, there's a lot of different types of investors. Some investors are investors you want to work with, some investors you want to stay away from. For you as a founder, what is a red flag and what is a good sign when you're assessing a potential seed investor?
I think the first one, the vision is very important. The vision. I mean, having the same vision is very important. If you have a different perspective or a vision, then it can be red flag.
Yeah.
If the vision is different, it can be red flag. And the second, I think, is the chemistry. How you value, I mean, the value. Maybe you value money, but your investor don't value money. It's going to be dangerous. Or the other way, you value your mission, and your investor really care about money.
Yeah.
It's not good relationship. You have to have the same value, and the core value, how you see this world. If you are totally different, then that's not in good mission. I think the third one is control. Make sure you have a control of the company. Only give them like 10% or even 1%. Don't give control to them.
That's a big gap, 10% versus 1%.
Don't give too much control to the shareholder. It's very good to divide, spread the company share and put you in the middle, because the one who make change and growth, I think the founder itself, it's your baby, right?
Yeah.
You really care about the company. Your shareholder, I think, they will not care about the company. I mean, they care about the money, but the company, I think they don't understand the company. So they cannot run the company.
So we have time for one last question. So that was about seed investing, but now you're talking about much, much larger sums of money. So when you're looking at late stage investing, because I agree, like at the seed stage, it's kind of about a shared vision, and you're kind of assessing on a certain human potential. But by the time you get to late stage investing, a lot of the metrics are kind of dictating how the conversation's going. So if someone comes to you and says, I want to put in hundreds of millions of dollars into your company, how do you assess that offer?
I think the basic principle is same. We check, the first one is vision. Are we having the same vision? And also, are we having same value or chemistry? Something like that. And also, I think the basic principle is almost same. Of course, the difference is, I think, the seed investor usually they close their eyes and then just put the money. And then the big investor usually they very detailed and very rigid. And at that stage, I think we are understand that the big investor want to put some clause that want to secure them. For example, like liquidity preference. The seed investor usually don't put liquidity preference, but for the big VC, like hundreds of million, they really care about liquidation preference, then we ask around, how about you? How about you? And everyone put even bigger multiple of liquidation preference. Then, oh, we are better actually. Then it's okay. We at some time we have to, have to be negotiate. I mean, relax about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. So unfortunately, we are out of time.
Yes.
But it was really a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you, David.
Can you give one more round of applause to Achmad Zaky?
Thank you.